another MAGA influencer who said that ICE is only going after the real crooks has been detained by ICE. This is like time 100, it feels like. ICE detains MAGA influencer who claimed only crooks get deported. I like the guy, the Brazilian influencer said of Trump. A Brazilian influencer who openly supported President Trump's immigration crackdown has been detained by ICE. We'll just go with Junior Pena because the full name I think I might botch. Was taken into custody on Saturday by Immigration and Customs Enforcement in New Jersey. According to a friend who spoke with the outlet, the influencer was detained due to an administrative issue. The Brazilian influencer, who has 1.3 million followers on TikTok and nearly 500,000 on Instagram, as he chronicles the reality of the USA. Oh, no. He's like, this is like those stories of American influencers who go, things have gotten too woke in America, and so I'm going to go to a true Christian nation where they really respect people's rights and Christianity, Russia. And then they go to Russia, and they're like, the beautiful thing is, they're not going to make me serve in the military. I don't want to have to go die invading Ukraine, but I just get to live this great life here. And then like a few weeks later, they get forced into the military and have to go invade and risk their life for a military takeover of a different country. Kind of similar vibe here, where it's all these liberals are saying the reality of the USA is not what it is. Trump's not just grabbing up random people for no reason. He's just going after the crooks. And as he's making one of those videos, they detain him. When Trump was inaugurated in January 2025 and promised an immigration crackdown targeting primarily Latin American immigrants in the first 6 months, Pena told his Brazilian followers that everyone being targeted was a crook. Now, of course, that's not true. Data released by the Deportation Data Project show that the share of detainees with criminal convictions fell to about 28% by mid-October. So with criminal convictions, 28%. The rest, we're talking about non-criminals. So he was lying. Pena was lying. Come on, Junior. Let's not do that. But I don't know if that will change his view. Some of the events that have unfolded have changed some MAGA influencers' views, like Andrew Schultz, who just comes out and says, and I give him some credit for this, however aggravating it was to see him hyping up Trump so much during the 2024 election, he says, the most hyperbolic leftist was kind of right. Just the quickest break from the video to request that you click the subscribe button. As you know, that's an important way to boost the message that we deliver to a larger audience, which is very important. Helps us out, but it's completely free on your end. Just by clicking that subscribe button, you help support our work.
But I will say that this was a breaking point for me in the way that the administration responded to it. Like, I didn't think what's happening right now with ICE could happen in America. I genuinely did not think that was possible. I thought our institution, I thought the Constitution would hold up. When I see it and then immediately defend it, I start to go, we gotta be very loud about this. Like, it all of a sudden becomes not like liberal catastrophic thinking. It starts to become very reasonable, nuanced criticism of the administration. They have just made the most far left critiques of the Trump administration. Their reaction to this has just justified all of them. In one moment, all of their responses, from Trump to Kash Patel, they have justified every single and I know people will probably look at this and be like, they've done a million other things to justify them. Sure, and that's fair. But this specific situation, I think, is a breaking point, and it has justified all those criticisms. I think people's antennas are way up, and people's antennas that were not up initially.
This is like seeing the Epstein files. Because it's like,
wouldn't it be nice if we got those?
It's like, damn, y'all really been lying to us. Like, damn, like you really lying to us. Let me ask you.
So you might not remember this, but we did cover at the time, and I've referenced it multiple times, which is that Andrew Schultz was one of the many who just, in a sense, I try to have empathy. In another sense, I have boiling rage, but I don't think that's productive. I do think it's good to be a welcoming movement to people who realize that they're wrong. But he did that really friendly interview. There's that photo of him like laughing so hard at something Trump was saying. And these big podcasters who you think would feel some obligation to ask some real questions of Trump that would challenge him, given all the reasons you had to feel challenging him would be justified at the time. They just kind of got all excited about the fact that a presidential candidate was in their midst. And there's the photo. And they would ask him questions. He would totally incoherently ramble. Do you remember this was the phase where he was getting really tired during the campaign and was going on all these podcasts and would kind of start rambling and then would be like, this is the weave. I call it the weave. And would just kind of like say a bunch of mumbo jumbo. And they'd be like,
do the weave.
It is the weave. You're a baller. I think that was Logan Paul who said that. You're a baller, dude. What a badass. And he would say, I got indicted 4 times for nothing. And they'd be like, totally. Knowing that's not really something they probably kept up with much. But they just got swept up in it. And that made a big difference. And so then it is something I guess you can credit someone with, which is going, I'm not just going to say something Trump's doing now is bad, which he's saying about the killing of American citizens and the lying about the circumstances of killing them on the part of ICE and the Trump administration, but that he's even acknowledging the people who warned me were right. And that is an addition to like an apology that I think makes it more valuable, which is saying it's not just that he's doing something bad, because a lot of them were like, I never saw this coming. He's doing something bad. I can't believe it. How could anyone have guessed this? And Schultz was kind of doing that before. Now he's going, I'm not just saying that the thing is bad, but I'm saying that I was warned about it. And the people maybe I laughed at and thought, you probably just want to talk about men breastfeeding, maybe had more serious concerns than just that. Another thing that's getting some within the MAGA world upset is Jeanine Pirro, the DC U.S. attorney now, who makes those videos in her office where her hair's like, poof, and she's like, hi, everyone. So listen, we just got someone arrested. Shoo. Which is not at all how she talks. So I don't know why I just did that impression. Well, we got the sandwich man arrested so he could stick that sandwich right up his ass, was similar to what she said about the DC sandwich guy. And here is her saying, if you bring a gun into DC, like at all, you're going to get arrested.
And you bring a gun into the district, you mark my words, you're going to jail. I don't care if you have a license in another district, and I don't care if you're a law-abiding gun owner somewhere else. You bring a gun into this district, count on going to jail, and hope you get the gun back. And that makes all the difference.
Yeah, it's amazing how accountability works, you know, when people think that if they actually get arrested, they...
Why'd she laugh at that? I don't know. Sometimes people confuse me. So yeah, you bring a gun to the district, mark my words. And I don't even respond to that. A bunch of gun advocates got very upset with this statement, which is, it is kind of weird that the Trump administration has swung from like Second Amendment is the most important thing all the time, and you should be able to have a 6-year-old with a concealed carry. Swung all the way from that to, oh, just because Alex Preddy had a gun means he could be shot 10 times after the gun was already taken off him and he wasn't using it in the middle of the street in front of a bunch of cameras after peacefully protesting. And then I guess here they're swinging as well, which is causing different gun advocates, as they're describing this reporting, to be upset. Here's one saying, if you have a non-resident DC carry permit like I do, it's perfectly legal to carry into the city. What is Pierre talking about here, and why is a Fox anchor cheering her on? You have Congressman Greg Steube saying, I bring a gun into the district every week. I have a license in Florida and DC to carry and will continue to carry to protect myself and others. Come and take it. What a moronic statement, someone else said. The Trump administration needs to put a muzzle on certain people, sometimes even Trump himself. Because they're, okay, we get it, they're mad. Let me just address that for a second, as I have something viciously in my eye. This is something I'm so sick of, which is defenders of Trump who often speak supportively of him, but justify actions of his or even other members of the administration by going, oh, they just let the wrong person speak. Pam Bondi messed up the Epstein files when she said she had it on her desk, but that's not Trump's fault. Or, oh, Trump's probably getting bad advice whenever he makes himself billions of dollars by trading on favors with foreign governments. Someone gave him bad advice. That's not his fault. Or shoot, someone probably coerced him into sexually abusing someone. You know, like that sort of logic that they'll use with him. Yeah. And in reality, at some point, you have to say that Trump's administration is Trump's administration and hold him a little bit responsible for what goes on in it. Then you have Pam Bondi on the ICE protests and the arrest of Don Lemon and others saying this.
Originally, they met in a parking lot about 2 miles away while people were filing into this church service. They were caravanning to this church to perform an attack-style infiltration of a church service on a Sunday morning. They came in through all doors, all the people we've charged.
I'm going to use that phrase, though. That's kind of an interesting phrase. Like, picture you just had a nice bottle of wine, good dinner, feeling a little bit sexy with your partner, and you're like, I'm about to carry out an attack-style infiltration on that ass. You know?
This is why Luke Beasley won't come.
I'm about to do an attack-style infiltration on that church. You're about to feel some holy water. Okay.
Infiltration of a church service on a Sunday morning. They came in through all doors. All the people we've charged did this. All of them.
An attack-style infiltration. They walked through the doors. Like, as she's explaining, like, this doesn't sound that bad.
That's him in the church confronting the pastor.
Interviewing.
The pastor will say he was scared. His parishioners were scared. We just know there was a church shooting.
Well, then did not realize she was about to say that. I'm going to say it still. Well, then he's a bitch. Not she's talking about a different instance. There wasn't a shooting here. This pastor's a bitch if he was scared of Don Lemon. He knows who Don Lemon is. You think Don Lemon's about to attack you? He's interviewing you. He has a microphone. He has cameras. What are we doing? The pastor said he was shaking in his boots. Well, yeah, so Don Lemon shouldn't have been arrested. That's obvious. Check. And then at the Grammys, musicians getting up and saying things against ICE. You have a Fox contributor saying, shut up and sing.
Fine with immigration, legal immigration. We're all here because of legal immigration. It's the illegal part and the fact that they choose to ignore those facts, but then spew silly opinions like Billie Eilish, which was comical what she said. This is why, shut up and dribble, shut up and sing, because you're super talented, but you don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up and sing. As I've said before, don't know how that's possible. Get it? Shut your mouth and open it and sing at the same time. No, shut up. So, but the thing there is, they've been hyping up Nicki Minaj nonstop. And if you think Nicki Minaj knows more than any of the people who got up on stage and spoke out against ICE, let's just check her Twitter feed. Nicki Minaj. What is her? Where's Nicki? What happened to Nicki Minaj's account? Did she delete it?
What's the hell happened to
Nicki Minaj?
She blocked you.
Probably. She's coming for me. What am I doing wrong here? This is upsetting. Here. No, I did type the wrong thing. I see. Typo. Hold. Everyone hold. I need to show you. She posted like 100 times, very much in Trump style. Here we go. So here's her account. Found it. She posted about her Katie Miller interview. She said, as they do their ritual tonight, God Almighty will reveal himself to them. The ritual will backfire on them. I don't know what ritual he's talking about. She said something about fat Lizzo, quote unquote. Everyone knows Chrissy Teigen has a dick. She posted, they're flying in immigrants to vote. She's just, look at it. This is all February 1st. Isn't it obvious? What the F? Maybe I should discuss the brainwashing techniques they use. So a lot of posting, very erratic posting, very crazy posting, it appears, and they love that she's speaking out. That's my point. I'm not saying she can't speak out. Speak out. I kind of like whenever pop-up stars tell me what they believe, because then I can know a little bit more about them. And They've been bringing her on stage. So they never have a consistent principle on this. It's always, if you say something liberal, listen, pop stars should just shut up and do pop star things. But whenever it's a pop star doing something they like, they say, see, this is so brave of them. Wow. And pretty hypocritical is what I say.